been asked, we've talked about doing really pretty amazing gardens. We've been asked about it, but we haven't actually done anything yet.
No, we ran out of time.
Why is that?
Our renovation project was a bit of a runaway train. And poor Steve, where he really belongs, is out here, outside. And I've had him working on project after project after project.
Shockingly, there's still a few more projects to go. So the garden hasn't been touched yet, but behind the camera, which you can't currently see, but I'm sure we'll plug in some images, is probably 30 yards by maybe 70, 80 yards, give or take. Right now it's where the chickens are. We were lucky enough to have a little fenced in area for them when we moved here, but I'm going to be moving the chicken coop or building a chicken coop, and we will get the garden started. What's interesting about the gardens is it's a German origin. It's called Hugelkultur.
And how do you spell that?
You just say, hey, Google, how do you spell Yeah, my phone's going to turn on now. A German word, and it means hill or mound culture. So it just means you're growing from a hill or mound. But and I'm also using, it's called a no-till garden, where most gardeners will go and till up the soil every spring and try and loosen everything. I'm lazy, so I don't want to do that. And I'm kind of sure Cari Ann doesn't have the time to go out and do that. And it's actually not as beneficial for your garden as it turns out. So
a lot of people don't know that tilling is not good for the soil.
Yeah, even a lot of big commercial farms now are going without tilling. So the goal here is to really build the soil. The soil is everything. All the life that's here on the homestead is going to come from the soil. So this is all about building the soil using hugelkultur. We're going to take advantage of a lot of the resources around us. We have a lot of oak trees here. There's a lot of aspen. There's a lot of
the ladybugs.
Ladybugs, yes.
Oh my gosh, there's hundreds of them right now.
We're going to use that. We're also going to use a lot of the resources that we have in the pond, things that are considered to be a nuisance, like the duckweed. We're going to selectively harvest that, and we'll have videos on that as well. But we're going to use all of this to build out our gardens. And it's a no-till garden, but I'm going to till it. By that, I mean I'm just going to dig the whole thing up. We're going to dig down probably 2 or 3 feet down. So using the tractor, be another fun little video. Cari Ann driving the tractor, digging in the ground.
That's not happening.
So, are you sure?
I'm sure. In that one instance, you'll till. We just said no-till garden, but in that one instance, you have to dig up the ground.
We're just plain digging the whole thing up. Because what we're going to do is we're going to use a lot of the oak trees, specifically oaks are fantastic, but that have already fallen, that are down on the ground, that are currently rotting. We're going to use a tractor or we're going to use my sun trace.
It's actually a great idea because there's 15 acres here and we have a lot of
We've had some strong storms come through and lost some trees. A lot of debris cleaning and things that we need to do. So, but aside from that, there's a lot of buckthorn out here, which again, a lot of people know is an invasive species. What a lot of people don't know is that buckthorn is one of the few plants that actually infuses nitrogen into the soil. So when buckthorn trees, bushes, whatever you want to call them, die, you'll see a cornucopia of growth where they were, because they are really adding a lot of value to the soil. We're going to be clearing a lot of the buckthorn out because it hurts when you walk into it. It stabs you.
Yes, it's very unpleasant.
It's unpleasant. So we're going to clear a lot of that out, along with a lot of the trees that we need to thin and a lot of the rotting trees that are on the ground. We'll pull all of that stuff and bury it in our garden. So we're just going to line the whole thing. We're going to fill it in 2-3 feet deep of old wood, new wood, rotted wood. And then we'll also throw in, on top of that, we'll cover it with soil. And we'll also then use compost and maybe some hay. And
some of the gunk out of the pond.
Yeah, stuff from the pond. There's
pond gunk.
But the point is there's no chemicals. And what's beautiful about this is that once you do it, you're done. You're done. You don't have to fertilize. You rarely have to water because all of that wood, as it starts to decompose, it brings in all of the fungi. And it creates just sort of like a sponge underground that holds onto that water and encourages root growth to come down into it.
It's like a web of nutrients.
It really is.
Yeah. And what's so cool about this, we keep saying this because this is a big piece of real estate, but you could be like on one of our old lots in the city and you've purchased something and no one's done anything with the yard for years, and you want to, put new gardens in, and you're doing cleanup, you might decide to do a small little patch of vegetable garden. Same theory.
You could do it with a raised garden bed.
Sure, you could. Doesn't matter how big it is. The process is the same. So I think that's what's so cool about this lesson is whether you've got this huge piece of real estate where you've got all this cleanup and all this debris, what a great way to get rid of it and be beneficial.
You're saying you don't like all the debris laying?
Or you have a small yard and you could do the very same thing. I think that's cool.
So the end product is going to be, because it's Cari Ann, so it's going to be beautiful when it's done. It's not going to look so beautiful as we're doing it.
No,
but
I'm preparing myself.
Yeah, but the end product. So I will also build currently where the chicken run is now. I'm going to build. I think that's where we're going to put our greenhouse. So I'll build a beautiful little timber frame greenhouse out there. So that'll kind of anchor from the house. That'll sort of anchor the garden back there.
So some of the pictures that we're pulling through, these are from the vision board. One of which is an image from, who's the gentleman, the there's a picture that we're going to show you that comes from his vision board.
We can put a link in.
It's really beautiful, beautiful ideas around the greenhouse as well. We've been processing what to do, and it just dawned on us this past weekend that it's ideal right at the end of this plot of land here that we'll show you a picture where the chickens are running right now will be a perfect spot for the greenhouse. Perfect spot. And we've got some really pretty images of what the visual is going to look like there. How long do you think that'll take?
Oh, it'll take a while. We still have to get the wood for it. We will use some of the trees we have to cut down here are eastern red cedar, because we're going to have to clear out space where we're building other things. You really don't want to use pine or cedar as wood in hugelkultur beds, just because they don't decompose. You want woods that decompose.
Right.
And you don't want anything that's wouldn't want to use walnut, for example, just because it has features to it that are designed to actually kill out other plants to keep walnuts growing. So you want to be careful about what you're putting in there. But find the right woods and again, understand we've never done this. So all the things that you're seeing us do here, we've never done before. We're learning as we go, and we're watching, other YouTubers, other people. We're learning from them. We'll give them shout outs as we go, because they are our inspiration. Hopefully like Cari Ann is yours, because, I don't know about me, but yeah, so we're going to go ahead and put this together and actually get to planting. We have, good gosh, hundreds and hundreds of different heirloom seeds, like everything you can imagine.
Beautiful stuff.
Vegetables to flowers to, it's going to be amazing.
Super fun. And people are like, what are you going to do with all of that? I'm like, well,
we just got our freeze dryer, so we'll be freeze drying a lot of it.
I think a lot of it is about sharing, so they'll be gifting, and they'll be, obviously using all of this produce and everything that we grow. And there's going to be a flower garden. So
a big part of it is how beautiful it's all going to be.
So beautiful. Black walnut trees, my friends, if you have them, they are tenacious and dangerous trees. However, people love those nuts, and we were selling, literally bagging.
We're giving away
bag after bag after bag, and throwing them up on Nextdoor, and people would pick them up. There is a need for those, apparently. So if you've got one, note that you could even probably sell those things if you wanted to. We got rid of more bags of black walnuts last year. It's amazing. I'm so glad that is not a tenacious tree on this property.
I don't think we have any.
We don't have a single one, thank goodness. We're probably going to prep land in the spring. Do you think?
Yeah, maybe. Might get started a little bit this fall, but we'll see.
I mean, it's going to get covered up with the snow, and it is a messy process. I mean, it's not pretty starting this process, but it needs to be started at some point. So maybe the fall will be a good time to.
Yeah, it'll get cleaned up pretty quick. The process, again, is we'll dig. We will drag in logs and cut buckthorn. We'll probably start doing that now, at least get stuff cut and stacked and ready to go. And then we'll fill the holes, and then we'll have compost and whatnot ready to go on top of that. We'll probably end up waiting then until spring before we're able to get some of the duckweed and things out of the pond that we want to put on it. and then we will cover it with dirt. And also on top of all that, we will cover everything with cardboard. Yes, the same stuff that you just threw out. We've been saving it from our multiple moves. We have cardboard on top of cardboard. You take all the tape and everything off of it and only use cardboard that's just regular cardboard, nothing with colored ink and all that, because that will decompose, but that then keeps the weeds down. So cardboard will go down. The soil that we used to plant in will go on top. We'll probably have to buy that at first because we won't have it.
Yet.
We'll get that trucked in, and then as we're starting now, but it'll take us at least a year more to get any decent amount of compost done.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It'll take at least a year to get the plantings to take and really get some form to that.
We'll mulch in between, so we'll have mulched areas where we can walk in between the beds and whatnot. But it'll look beautiful by midsummer.
So for those of you, don't forget, if you need a weed protector, cardboard is brilliant. It's a great thing. And you are doing something that's recycling. It's a recycling effort. So you're getting rid of all that stuff instead of putting it into the garbage. So there you go.
Welcome to Hugelkultur 101.
The very beginning.
Yeah.